All right. Welcome back to another edition of the San Carlos Apache Sports Zone. I'm your host, Alec Ben Ferreira, and you already know what time it is. We bring you the stories, the passion, and the talent that represent our people, our culture, and our Southwest sports culture and community at the absolutely highest level. Today, we have a special guest. Yes, I said it. A special guest in the house that you do not want to miss. So, when you talk about grit, determination, and bringing the indigenous pride straight to the Division I stage, you have to talk about this young man joining us today, hailing from Coconino High School in Flagstaff, Arizona, and representing the great Navajo Nation. This brother put the state on notice early. He was an all-region standout on the gridiron, a dominant force on defense, and even a third-place state medalist in the AIA Division III Wrestling Championships a few years ago, showing that pure, relentless, physical drive, a true warrior in the making. But he didn't just stop at high school success. Oh, no. He did not peak in high school because he carried his strength of his roots, of his heritage, the power of his family, and the fire of a warrior right into Division I college football. Now standing 6'3", 225 pounds in the linebacker room for the Arizona State Sun Devils. He's a huge part of the new era at ASU under Coach Kenny Dillingham. He makes moves in the Big 12 Conference, and while he gets after it on the field, he also gets business done in class. Big 12 academic All-American team. Yeah, I said it. Big 12, Mr. 4.0 himself last season, proving that he's a true scholar athlete, setting the blueprint for the next generation. Ladies and gentlemen, sports fans across Indian country, give it up for Arizona State's very own Prayer Young Blackgoat. Prayer, welcome to the studio. Welcome to Apache Sports Zone. Man, it's an absolute honor to have you here in the studio today. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling good. Thank you for having me.
All right. You know, it truly is an honor to have you. I mean, you're one of 5 Native American athletes who play in NCAA and the NCAA. Like, wow. You know, I know the introduction was a bit lengthy, but you know, you're Native, you understand. We're all long-winded, and sometimes you probably had that one grandpa or that one uncle that just like, man, they're like right before like getting the food, he just wanted to give a big speech.
Yeah, definitely.
Man, so I just want to say thank you so much for taking the time for our Native youth, our Native listeners out there. That being said, yo, tell us who you are. I mean, I gave you like the fans that big intro right there, but who are you?
Yeah, so let me just do my introduction. I've been practicing a little bit. I'm trying to get back into it, but shit prayer young Blackgoat Yanishe Toda Chitni Nishle Nahisli Baschin Biligana Dasche Nahisli Dashinale. This is my full introduction, my Native background, my African-American background as well. From Flagstaff, Arizona. I got relatives on the Navajo Nation. I got relatives Colorado as well, New York, that side. But, yeah.
Man, it sounds like you're a man from all over. Sounds like a gathering of nations right there built in definitely. Your DNA, man. That's crazy. And, you know, let's start where it all began. You're representing the Navajo Nation at the highest tier of college football, a stage where, let's be honest here, Native representation is far too rare. And, you know, the funny thing about ASU is there's actually been many or several Native American players who have played at Arizona State, such as Jim Warren, who was part of that Rose Bowl team back in the 80s. I'm pretty sure some people remember that. Shout out to my elders out there. Then we have Xavier Guillory, who just a few years ago was actually part of that 2024 playoff team. I mean, very memorable moment right there where he had the 2 feathers on his head for the 2 touchdowns for Indian country. That was crazy. And you were actually part of that team.
Yeah. I was blessed to be on his team. See him play in the Big 12 championship and then go on and play Texas. And then now he's with the Ravens as well. So he's really representing right now.
And, I don't want to, get too far off track, but it was targeting.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man. By far one of the greatest games in Sun Devil history. And you were there. You were there watching, learning from, the great talent around there. And, of course, I don't want to cut out your teammate, Plaz Johnson, also is part of this current team. And he plays cornerback, correct?
Cornerback, and now he's moved to receiver. He's a very special type of athlete. Lucky enough he played both those positions in high school. So, really, if he wanted to play defense, he could. If he wanted to play offense, he could.
Oh, man. Sounds like one of Coach Prime's, like the Coach Prime model right there. Thank God we have him here at Arizona State.
Yeah.
Oh, man. So when you're looking back at your upbringing, what was that initial spark?
I would say it was definitely parental influence. Both of my parents were athletes. My mom played soccer. My dad played college lacrosse. So it was always a love for sports. My very first sport was soccer, but after that I grew into contact sports. But I started with martial arts just to prevent like injury and stuff, just to get into it. But I always wanted to play football.
Okay, so why football? I mean, you're already playing the 2 most native sports right there, cross country, 3 most native sports. I mean, like martial arts, and then of course lacrosse. Like, what?
Yeah.
Like, how did football get thrown in that mix?
I think my dad says that his mom didn't really want him to play football in school, or in college, but he wanted to, so he kind of pushed it onto us, and I'm really glad he did. Just coming from watching NFL teams, Sunday mornings, Sunday nights, just growing up with the love of the game. So, and initially, we started with flag football, my brother and I, and then we were lucky enough to get introduced to flag or football, like padded football, in the 4th grade. So I'm just happy that was an opportunity to us.
And if you like really, really think about it, I mean, a lot of Native Americans, they don't play football.
Yeah.
I mean, sure, you see like a few who are on the local teams, but part of a rare bunch there. I mean, and let alone like, you look into a lot of the, other teams around the state, around the country, a lot of them are playing just basketball.
Yeah.
And, you actually don't fit that mold. That's just crazy.
Yeah. I'm a little bit too big for basketball, I know. I'm not really the basketball type. My skill's not all there, but yeah, luckily I was blessed enough to be able to play football and continue playing what I love.
And, we talking about that love for the game, that passion for the game. Every player, every athlete who makes it to this level has a core drive, has like that inner spirit, that inner drive within them. And when you're waking up at 5 a.m., is it 5 a.m. or is it earlier than that?
5 a.m. Yeah, 4:45. Yep.
Dang, 4:45, man. The birds aren't even up yet.
Nah.
And when the workouts hurt, you're sore, or when you step on the field in front of tens of thousands of your best friends. Sorry. What's your why? What drives Prayer Young Blackgoats to go as hardest out there?
I would say I was just told I couldn't do it, I guess. So I don't know if some of you guys know, like I initially walked on to ASU. I didn't have offers out of high school, not even NAU. NAU offered me a walk-on position as well, but as soon as I got the opportunity from my linebacker coach, AJ Cooper, it was let's compete at the highest level and prove to people what I can do and why I'm here.
Oh, man, coming in with your chip on your shoulder. I mean, looking back at your high school stats, I mean, it's amazing. Like, how the heck did nobody pick you up?
Yeah, it's Flagstaff. It's not a very big recruited or a largely recruited area. there were just a few players before me. I mean, the Watson brothers, they're at BYU together. But it's really an under recruited spot. My brother and I were lucky to get looked at after.
Oh man, so yeah, your brother. Talk a little bit about your brother. Like, what's he doing up there at NAU right now?
Yeah, he's killing it up there. You know, he also walked on to NAU, both of us, and then he eventually earned his scholarship. Yeah, he was initially a safety, and now he's moved to a linebacker as well under Max Silver, who was my assistant linebacker coach. So it's a very new defense to him, but it's familiar to me and the Coach Silver, and so he's definitely in the right spot right now.
Oh man, so talking about Coach Silver, like I kind of want to bring it back to your high school days at Coconino. So I'm talking, you were a multi-sport athlete, as you mentioned before, getting it done on the field, putting people on their backs on the wrestling mat, something I personally appreciate. I mean, yep. Oh man, but as every athlete knows, making the leap from high school to a Power 4 college football program is a whole different beast. I wouldn't necessarily say, I mean, for wrestlers, that wrestling practices can be a little bit more intense than a football practice. But what were the biggest adjustments you had to make physically, mentally, and speed-wise to make that transition from high school to D1 college football?
I would say preparation. There's a lot of preparation going into college. You can't just wake up one day, go to practice, and just go off of base athletic talent. It's a lot of film, a lot of strength training, a lot of recovery as well. In high school, I was able to get around athletically. I was just naturally bigger than everybody in Flagstaff. But here it's a lot of technique. I'm not the biggest guy anymore. So it's what can I do to give myself the advantage, whether that's waking up early, going to bed late by doing extra stuff just to give myself the advantage.
Yeah, just out of curiosity, what weight class were you in?
I wrestled in 3 because I wrestled 3 years. So I was 180s, then I was 190, and then I wrestled 215. But I never actually weighed those, so I was always wrestling up.
Oh man, that's quite the flex right there. And then you got third place.
Man. Yeah, I got third place my junior year. And then I didn't place my senior year, but it's not an easy sport, but I definitely wish I would have went farther with that as well.
Well, shoot. You ever think about going back to wrestling sometime?
I have thought about wrestling or trying to at ASU, but it's not possible with our schedule.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I know a lot of that season overlaps. So, that's a big thing right there. Wrestling is making some big waves, and we were talking about this off the podcast here in a little bit, but how has wrestling helped you with your technique in football? Because I know I always hear this. I always see this in the off season. All these football players who don't play basketball, they're doing nothing in the winter season.
Yeah.
So how did it help you?
I would say as defensive player, wrestling is very critical for my position. Not only does it show me teaching me how to tackle, teaching me like head placement and stuff like that, pad level, but it's also more mentally challenging than it is physically. So once I got through that barrier of wrestling, where it's a one-man sport and it's you versus another guy, I can channel that into preparing and stuff like that. Like now it's a team sport, but if you wanted to play football, I would say you need to wrestle.
All right. And this is not just coming from me. I'm not just blowing smoke here. This is coming from a Division I football player. All right. This is coming from the very top. All right. Of course, top. Oh my gosh, it can't come much higher from this, except from the NFL. But we got like what, a couple more years to think about that. That jump. And he's still developing. So hey, in a few years, we might be talking about that. So you never know.
Oh, yeah.
So we got him early before he really truly blew up. And just talking about blowing up here, let's talk about like ASU. So ASU made a massive move jumping into the Big 12 conference. You're traveling across the country. I mean, you're going all the way to Florida, UCF. Yeah. You're playing across the country, playing in tough environments like Texas Tech, facing new schemes. How has that shift in the Big 12 elevated the energy around the team? And I know you were there that first year. It was a walk-on year for you.
Yep.
And what does it demand from you as a linebacker?
I feel like that 24 team set a really high standard for these 25 team and this upcoming 26 team for us to hold. I think that success, that previous success, is really vital to our future success. Just because, people didn't really believe in us in the 23 seasons and earlier than that, and so we had Kenny Dillingham and then Scat and then Jordan Tyson, Sam Levitt. All those guys helped elevate our culture. So I would say the big thing right now is culture and how that ties in, like linebacker and stuff. We got a lot of we got a transfer too, actually. We just got the nation's leading tackler, Owen Long, and he's a great teammate, great leader. It's really going to elevate our linebacker room, and we should be something dangerous this year.
All right, all right. And, just being there for 3 years, coming in from the very bottom, you started from the bottom, now you're here. Have you found yourself taking on a new leadership role, like as a junior?
I feel like I have not done enough on the field yet to be in that position yet. So I still feel like I've got a chip on my shoulder, and I feel like I'll always carry that chip on my shoulder. Maybe some people might see me as a leader, but I personally feel like I still need to be led for me to be able to accomplish what I can accomplish.
Now, it's very humble of you to say. Not a lot of people say that, especially coming into a team environment. You may be the star player at your previous institution at high school level, but falling into place, there's something honorable about that. Learning, ascending, and grinding it out. That's just something that you can expect, especially when you're coming in to a new environment, a higher level. And, it's just something that you got to face. Yeah. So it's very admirable for you to admit that. And, people see the big hits, the stadium lights, and the game day uniforms. I must admit, they were pretty sick.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Oh, man. I would say it's up there with Oregon. That's just my personal opinion.
Yeah, I think ours are very, very good.
But, people don't see, especially native folks, we don't get to see what happens Monday through Friday. Or it might be Monday through Saturday for you
Monday
guys.
through Saturday.
Yeah, because, high level Big 12 football here. Walk our audience. And this question actually comes from one of our viewers, Randy Kitchion from Bylis, Arizona. So she wants her kids to understand this. She wants she's a coach. She wants her athletes to understand this. So what does your daily routine look like right now as a NCAA Division I football player for Arizona State?
Yeah, so I'm up early, like I said, 4:45 sometimes. Then I try and get to the facility usually around 5:30. There's breakfast at 6:30. I try and get there earlier than that. I need a little bit of time to wake up. And then after breakfast, we got lift at early 7:15. So I got to eat before that. You can't go in there not fueled up or anything. That's just waiting for an injury to happen. So if needed to, also in that time period, I'll get some stretch and some recovery in. And then usually our athletic stuff is outside from 7:15 to like 9, I would say, try and stay out of the heat. Then we're back in the weight room 9 to 10:45, maybe 10:30. Just getting after it in the weight room. Then it's lunch and recovery from there. And then when fall camp comes around, it's the same schedule, except we'll practice midday, or not midday, more like 9. We'll practice 9 to 11, and then we'll come back, eat, and then it's recovery again, some meetings, then it's another position-based meetings. Then we'll go out, walk through around 4 p.m., and we're back inside for some more additional meetings. We end around 9-ish. So in fall camp through August, it's 6 a.m. through 9 p.m., sometimes 10 p.m.
Oh, man. Sounds like you have like 2 jobs working double shifts there. Oh, my gosh. For those of you that are wanting to go to that next level, our youth out there, this is what you have to do. I mean, yeah, you can do whatever you want in high school. You can let talent bring you so far, but if you want to reach that next level, you got to grind. You got to sacrifice your social relationships. You got to sacrifice, things that you want to do in order to attain a higher goal. And, what better person than Mr. Prayer Young Blackgoat here? I mean, I mentioned earlier in the intro that you made the all academic team last year.
Yep.
I mean, that is a massive achievement because not only are we seeing you on the field, we're seeing you put in the work in the classroom. You're balancing. Keep in mind, what he just mentioned, 6 a.m. all the way to 9. He's going crazy with it. I don't know how you manage to put all of that into a busy academic lifestyle. I mean, with college academics, they're no joke. And you said you were in sports psychology, correct?
Yeah, that's my current major.
And that pathway, it's not easy. It's very time consuming.
Yeah, definitely.
So how do you keep your mind sharp off the field? And what advice do you have for high school student athletes listening on how to prioritize their grades?
Yeah, like you said, it's a sacrifice. All of it is. I mean, you'll sacrifice what you need for what you love. So in order for me to play football, I need to have my grades in order. Otherwise, I won't be eligible. And for that to happen, I need to cut out TV, the extracurriculars like video games, etc. So it just comes down to sacrifice. What are you willing to sacrifice for what you want to accomplish?
And, coming back to our heritage, that is something our people understood greatly. Apache people, Navajo people, and natives from across the country. So how does your culture play into who you are when you're out there representing not only Arizona State, but the Navajo Nation?
Like I said earlier, it's just a chip on my shoulder, just with history and everything, it hasn't really gone our way, but it needs to, it's just how I bring it, I guess.
All right. Carrying that chip on his shoulder, carrying that warrior spirit.
Yep.
And that's just something that we're very proud to say that he carries with him. And, you can't really miss it. Like, he carries it on the back of his jersey every game. Young, and then you got Blackgoat.
Yep. And then they added the Navajo flag to the back of my helmet, so I wore that for 2 years as well.
Oh, man, that's sick. Yeah. Oh, man, that is just awesome. So, all that being said, we've had all of this information given to us. The youth are listening. The parents are listening. The grandparents are listening. What is your message to the youth back home, Flagstaff, to the youth back home in Navajo Nation, and of course, our listeners from San Carlos Apache tribe who have big dreams and might feel like the odds are stacked against them?
I would say don't let anybody ever tell you can't do something, use those odds stacked against you and just stack them up and up and up. And then, it won't be easy, but it'll be worth it in the end. Nothing worth it is ever easy. So again, on top of that, like, sacrifices need to be made. Your parents make sacrifices, work, and, just to put food on the table. They're taking you to practice. They're sacrificing their time. You need to repay them as well. Like, that's how I'm trying to repay my parents. They sacrificed so much for me growing up. Now it's my turn to take it over.
Very communal mindset, very family-oriented mindset. And that is something that all of us can learn from. I mean, if you take something, you got to give back.
Yep.
It's very circle. It comes back around in a circle. So keep that in mind out there, young fellows, young listeners out there. If you want something, you got to give something back. You got to put in the hard work. You got to put in that effort.
Yep.
And, before we let you go, what are some personal goals for this season and your future, both on the field with the Sun Devils, on and off? Like, just what are your personal goals this year?
It's hard. It's a team sport. I personally would like to play a lot of football. I love football. All I want to do is play. So, it's hard to say personal goals, but I would say I want to win a lot of games so we can go back to that Big 12 championship, go back to the playoffs and stuff like that. But I've got I don't, I don't even know. Yeah, I would say a personal goal of mine was continuing to become a leader and a leader that I can be. Academically, I would like to get back onto that all Big 12. If not, I need to get my A's, get all A's. Other than that, I just want to win some games, beat the team down south, and then continue our grind and climb from there.
I love hearing that, especially as a lifelong Sun Devil fan myself. You mentioned that team down south. Hold on, I got to put this out there. Oh man, for all my Wildcats listening out there, just know you can learn something from Mr. Prayer, young Blackgoat. I mean, they did make it to the playoffs, the CFE playoffs. Something the Wildcats have never done.
Yep.
Sorry, I had to rub a little salt in that wound right there. But that pretty much wraps up our time with Mr. Young Blackgoat. Prayer, thank you so much for taking time to chop it up with us on the San Carlos Apache Sports Zone. You're making us all proud right now, brother. And we're going to be watching and cheering you on all season. For those of you that want to keep track of Mr. Young Blackgoats, where can we follow you? Like, link your socials right now.
Yeah, I've got Instagram. It's just Prayer YB. That's really all I use. And then, yeah, I appreciate you guys for having me.
All right, thank you so much, and go Devils.